Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Supergirl Season 2, Episode 13. It's called Mr. and Mrs. Mxyzptlk. Full spoilers for the episode. Nailed the name. Was worried I wouldn't. But yeah.
Wasn't bad.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue over pronunciation. I think there's
Yeah,
different ones.
every
But,
place does it differently, don't they?
but there's also completely breaking down and not knowing where to go through, one syllable in, which is...
That also happens on
Yeah.
a lot of occasions.
Yeah. Mr. Mixy...
Yeah, you start it wrong and that's it.
Yeah.
You're just off.
So, yeah, so full spoilers, as always. I will say, this episode I liked a lot.
But
Well, I liked it a lot for the most part. I liked, 70-80% of it, I was bordering on loving.
I'd agree with that.
There was one point about two-thirds in where I was worried I was going to hate the rest of it. I'll get to that when we
Okay.
talk through it. But, you know what part I didn't like?
Bloody ending, because it's the same shiting ending as the last 5 episodes.
Well, I will defend part of it. The part that I will defend is that at least this time it makes sense that he came over because he wanted to apologise for being a dickhead. There was a reason, as opposed
Yeah,
to the
okay.
last 4 where he just showed up because time to have a
Yeah.
romantic scene. In advance
So
of this plot.
that's fair.
Yeah, the show's got a mon-el problem, and it's not that I dislike mon-el. Mon-el is very funny, but it occurred to me as I was watching this one is that mon-el is always one of two things. He's comic relief, in which he's pretty good at that. He has good chemistry with other people in terms of comic timing, and that's usually pretty fun. That's why I liked him at first, back
Yeah.
early on in the season. But recently, his other thing that he has is that he's two dimensional. It's Kara, and he's a douchebag about it, and that's his entire thing. And I think the problem with him in that plotline is that it's taken up so much screen time, but it's not actually benefiting anything else. It's not driving anything else. It's just everything else is coming to a grinding halt, so we can have this.
Do you know what really summed it up for me at one point in this episode?
Oh, go on.
Mxyzptlk says to him, "Oh, you're not good enough for her. You don't deserve her." I'm like,
Yep.
yeah, pretty much.
Yep. Sounds about right. It was just. It's just cause he is such a douchebag and he's very controlling. He gets all jealous and is like, "Oh, I'm trying to defend your honor," and it's like, it's Supergirl.
Yeah, and
She can
it's like,
fight her own
yeah, she
battles.
calls him out on that, and obviously good, but then it
Yeah.
kind of negates it when it's like, well, it doesn't matter anyway.
Because actually, the one scene I did like between them wasn't the fight they had in the DEO. It started off with his bullshit and I wasn't feeling it. But then when she got annoyed and she turned round and it turned into a shouting match, it actually got kind of fun. Especially when mon-el randomly in the middle of the scene turned to someone and said, "Hey Dana," and continued back on the scene.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, is he flirting with a random woman named Dana in the middle of this fight? That's not a good
It
look.
feels like it, doesn't it?
It's not a good look, mon-el. So I had fun with that scene because it got kind of comical in the work. But this is kind of the problem, is that mon-el so far really only works when he's being funny.
Yeah, pretty much.
Everything else with them isn't really working. I'm looking forward to the other Daxamite showing up and actually bringing, because that'll at least bring some plot that's beyond just I have a crush on Kara and blah 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 blah.
It's going to be like next week now, right? That's usually how these things roll.
It'll likely be soon. I imagine we might get 1 or 2 episodes of just other plots and they're just dating in the background, and
It never lasts long though, does it?
which is good because
Yeah.
I'm ready for it to go away
Yeah.
already. One kiss and I'm like,
I think the problem
Right,
is
done.
because they've done this so many episodes in a row at the end, I'm bored of it before it's even started.
yeah. That's like I say, they've spent too much screen time on it. Too much of the time has been spent on it, and it's not because at least other plots where you've got the Maggie and Alex plot, right, which has typically been better handled, but you could argue that that's also very standalone. It doesn't really connect to a lot of other things, but at least that still gives us things where it shows us the relationship between Kara and Alex. Like the scene in the episode that I thought was really, 'cause I didn't think their plot in this episode was that great, but the scene where it's Kara and Maggie.
Yeah.
And Kara, by the way, yeah,
Just full on lays into her.
yeah, she properly sticks up for her sister, and it was like that's where it's like, oh, this is why this is an interesting development for the rest of the show, because it affects other relationships and it gives us scenes like this where Kara has an interaction with her. This thing with mon-el, like, it's in a vacuum. No one else cares. I mean, obviously, Alex has spoken to her about it a couple of times, like, oh, maybe you should admit that you've got feelings for him, but That's it. It's very.
That's not anything, is it?
It's very two-dimensional. It's very CW, shallow romance, and I already feel like I know that it's going to be over by the end of the season. Whether it's because he dies, or she hates him because he's actually an evil dick, or he has to leave and go back to Daxam to save the planet because it's a shithole. All of the above, maybe. I don't know.
It's doomed to fail within 6 episodes.
Yeah. So it kind of feels like we're wasting our time a little bit, and I think it's because it is so two-dimensional, and as much as Mxyzptlk's not suitable for Kara either, every time he says, oh, tall, dark, and bland summer, I'm like, he kind of is. He doesn't really have a character beyond...
And it's like, hey, writers, maybe you shouldn't be pointing this out to us. It's like, okay, I get that it's humorous, but... all you're going is, yeah, we're aware of these problems too, but we don't actually know how to fix them, so let's just point them out and have a joke at his expense for now.
Yeah, it's not a big deal in the long run, I don't think, because, I mean, it's not like last season the overarching plot wasn't great either. The reason why we like Supergirl is because we like the characters, we like the standalone villains, the plots they have with them, the fun moments. That's what I like. It's just the mon-el stuff is taking so much of the time from all the other characters right now, and it's not that engaging, and it feels like it's...
Pretty much, yeah.
But let's stop being negative, because I actually really liked most of the rest of the episode.
Should we talk about the other... Because obviously this is the Valentine's episode that is a whole week late, that I was explaining last week based on my
And what's funny is they've not had a gap. So I'm wondering, like, because I was thinking maybe as I was watching it, maybe this was meant to be last week, but they fell behind.
It slipped a week, yeah.
And they had to push it. But they've not actually had a gap since they came back, which makes me wonder... if it was the whole thing was meant to start a week early. Because do you remember there was a while when we thought it was coming back on the 16th of January and then it got pushed?
Yeah, you're right.
Right. And it wasn't there for very long, but I'm wondering if that was the intent and this was meant to be airing on the week of Valentine's Day. And then...
because this does feel like it should have been last week. Because obviously last Monday was the 13th.
Yeah. So it should have been last week.
So it really should have been last week.
And that's not a big deal, but I guess that's just what's happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's nowhere near as off as Legends' Christmas episode.
Which was last week. Or 2 weeks ago, because it was off last week, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, last episode.
Yeah, last episode. Just a couple of months. Hey, Die Hard came out in July. Happens to the best of them.
I'm not knocking it.
Happens to the best of them. So, right, so let's go with Maggie and Alex. That's the other biggest romance plot, I guess. Because we had 4, technically, if I'm counting them all. But...
yeah, and let's see if you can guess my favourite.
We'll get to it. So we had Maggie and Alex, and I thought this plot really was okay. So basically, Maggie's like, I don't like Valentine's Day, it's commercial, and Alex looks clearly like...
she's heartbroken.
Yeah, she's heartbroken.
She's like, I had so much planned.
Yeah, she wants a silly Valentine's Day. She's been single for so long.
I was fully expecting someone to like burst through the door with like a string quartet to come through the door. She's like, no, go away.
Yeah. That would be good. But she tells Kara, and Kara's like, which by the way, I love that we haven't spoken about Mxyzptlk yet, but there's a scene in the middle where she's like, when she goes to see Karen and like gets advice from her about it, because Maggie doesn't like Valentine's Day. I love that the whole scene, Kara's just casually like throwing out all the roses, because when Mxyzptlk first shows up, he fills the room. Or not when he first shows up, it's later on, but it's when she comes home and there's like, just roses everywhere, and she's just casually like just throwing them out one by one, just. But so she has the idea, and she reads it the right way. Actually, I was actually kind of on Alex's way of thinking here, or Kara's way of thinking, whoever we're going to give credit for this. But the idea is that she hates Valentine's Day, she hates the hearts, the chocolates, the whole thing, the commercialization. That's the way she made it sound. So the idea is, we'll do something that's unique, do something that's just...
well, that's the way Maggie said it.
Yeah. So
that's her own fault.
So I was like, that's a good idea. Do something like that. I don't like Valentine's.
Scotch and tiramisu.
Yeah, I don't like Valentine's Day, but if I walked in and someone had some horror movies sitting there and maybe some donuts, I'd be like, you're a keeper. Don't
you're
make a big
simple
fuss.
man, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm a simple man. It doesn't take a lot to make me happy. Doesn't take a lot, but. So she sets it up, and Maggie comes home, and she's immediately pissed. It's like she sees the red bow on the box, and she's like, how dare this bitch. And she like flips the light on, and They have this big fight, and it turns out she lied about coming out, and her parents did have a problem. And she tells this story about her and this girl when she was 14, and she gave her a note on Valentine's Day, but the girl showed it to her parents, which how her parents found out she was gay, and she tells all this story, and I think the scene. I think it's a little bit forced, but I think it works out mostly okay because the acting is actually really good from both the actresses in the
Do you
scene.
know what saves it for me? That Alex calls her out on it. It's like, hey, you could have just told me that. You just gave me some other story instead. How am I meant to know? And obviously the whole thing at the start of the relationship was like, hey, be honest and let your feelings out. And I like that Alex brings all that up and calls her out on it. That's what saves it there.
I agree, actually. Her calling her out is actually a big deal. I think the acting for both of them, when they got teary-eyed or they looked upset, everything about it felt very genuine. My only problem with the setup of this, and I could be wrong, right? I might be reading into this, but I feel like the writers, when they wrote that line 6-8 episodes ago, however long it was, and they said, oh, my parents were fine with it. I don't know if when they wrote that line, they actually wrote that as, oh, she's actually lying, and we'll explore this later. I feel like they wrote that as a genuine line, and then just decided we wanted this plot.
We want extra drama.
Yeah, so we'll say she lied about it, so we can have this little plot line for Valentine's Day.
No, I agree.
So it felt a little bit forced to me in that sense. However, acting was good. Like you say, Alex Connery on it, and then the final. And then I think the best moment actually is the scene with Kara. Like I said, her sticking up for her sister and be like, stop being a cow, do something nice for her because she likes it, make her feel happy. You're holding on to this because it's something that spoiled the memory for you. I think that's maybe the other slight problem I have with it is it feels very TV. Oh, one bad thing happened on one version of this holiday.
She's got to be about what 30 odd, so it's like literally half her life ago.
Yeah, which. Maybe people will tell me, oh, some people do hate holidays for these reasons, but I have never met a single person who has a grudge against a holiday because of one bad one.
It was quite bad, though. She'd have to leave home for 3 years.
Well, she did. No, it's really bad, but I don't know. I've never bought this thing where characters in movies and TV hold a grudge against a day because...
No, I know what you mean. It's like I get not liking Valentine's because that's a thing, and I get the whole the backstory. I get that, but was 15 years ago. Can you not just go, okay, it's just another day?
Yeah, getting pissed at Alex didn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
It didn't. It's like, okay, someone's done something nice for you, so I'm gonna be annoyed.
No, there's not extreme examples of this where I do kind of buy it. I buy Phoebe Cates' character in Gremlins, the Why She Hates Christmas. I actually buy that one.
All right.
Do you remember why she hates Christmas?
I haven't seen Gremlins.
You haven't seen Gremlins.
I'm the worst.
Her dad dressed up as Santa and tried to come down the chimney and got killed doing so on Christmas. So she hates Christmas. I think your parent dying on Christmas when you were a kid and ruining the illusion of Santa Claus probably would do it.
Yeah, that's probably something that'll do that.
Yeah, I think that'll probably do it. I don't know. But, yeah. Like I say, though, it was saved for a lot of different reasons. There was just some of the writing behind it felt a little bit, TV, we want drama. Let's give it a drama plot for Valentine's Day. No, that was
but like I said, the acting overall kind of salvages it.
Yeah. Romance plot number 3, my boy Win.
The best one.
Now, you're going to hate me, but I need to bring up some shows here. Because
I thought the exact same thing when I saw her.
So not only did we already this alien bar, does it remind us of Lorna's place in Angel, or even Willie's place in Buffy, if you want to go really obscure with it. In walks this blonde with this makeup. She's an alien, right? And she's got these like sort of ridges on her face, and I'm like, this is like vampire makeup from Buffy. What's going on here?
That was my first thought as well. I first thought, I was like, wait, are we in the Buffyverse now?
And she's reminding me a little bit of like Darla. A little bit of Darla.
Yeah.
And she's really forceful. Now, the only problem with this plot, honestly, is it's like, oh, we have to give Win a romance plot in the Valentine's episode. It just felt a little bit forced in that sense. But otherwise, I had fun
as
with
long
it.
as she comes back, I think it's worth it.
He shows up for the date, and she basically sexually assaults him.
Just shags him in the bar.
Yeah, it cuts away as if they're about to have sex on the table with people all around them. But when she kisses him, though, I thought it was a really nice touch that she properly like bites his lip for like a good couple of seconds. It's like, it looks really rough. Like he's
He
really
looks so
taken
uncomfortable
back.
at first, but then he's like, "No, I'm into this."
he's like, "Whoa, that was an attack!" Like so, and then they have the scene later on the next day where she's surprised that he wanted to see her again. She thought it was a one-time thing, and they're like, "Well, it turns out, love, that blonde aliens are just one's type." So,
Exactly.
Yeah, you're in the right wheelhouse for him. And so we have this going forward. Her name is Lyra, and I'm sure going forward we'll have more plot. I'm a little bit worried they're going to. She's secretly evil or this or that.
Yeah. That's always a concern when this happens, isn't it?
Yeah. I hope not, though. I think it's more interesting if she's actually just a nice alien with a temper.
Yeah, that's amusing.
Yeah, I think that would be more fun. And then romance plot number 4, if you can call it a plot, it was just more of a reference than anything else. But Jean was sending a Valentine's note to Megan on Mars because they have a similar holiday that's basically the same thing. So
I would say it's not even worth mentioning if the line of dialogue didn't end up being essential.
Oh yeah. He makes a point of saying, we usually use telepathy, but so in some cultures, it's not really worth saying unless it's written down. You're not truly said it until you've written it down. And of course, obviously, Mr. Mxyzptlk's whole thing is that to get him back to the 5th dimension is you have to make him say his name backwards.
I'm really glad they kept that, though, because for some reason I thought, they'll find another way around it, because it's kind of goofy. And they did to a degree by not having him say it.
Mxyzptlk is goofy anyway, so if you're going to have him, you might as well
You might as well lean into the goof, yeah.
I mean, sure, I'd have liked him to actually look like Mr. Mxyzptlk with the hat and...
Yeah, it was weird when mon-el called him an imp, and it's like, well, he's not though, is he?
I mean, he's smaller than you, I guess. I mean, it's just a height joke at that point.
Yeah.
That said, though, everything with him was pretty glorious for the most part. Had a lot of fun. Yeah. As much as he doesn't look like Mr. Mxyzptlk, he largely acts with the same kind of glee and whimsy that Mxyzptlk does, and that made it
felt like Mxyzptlk.
Yeah. And it led to a lot of really fun stuff, actually. Obviously, you've got like Kara being like, "Well, you can't just put me in a wedding dress," and all that stuff. But I thought the parasite fight was really cool.
I agree.
Hitting Kara into the car looked really brutal. Mon-el reminded us he actually had powers, so
then he got through the glass. Yeah. Great.
And then Mixie Man showed up, which, by the way, one of my favourite lines of this episode is, "Once you go Mixie, you don't go backsy."
Actually, I really like that she was just constantly calling him Mixie.
Yeah, that was good. And then, of course, the whole thing with the robbers, where she shows up and she's handling it as Supergirl, and he comes in and he's like about to shoot them, and she has to save them all. And then he's like, the guy's got obviously he's got a ski mask on or whatever, and he's like, "Thanks, Supergirl," and she elbows him in the face.
Yeah.
That was pretty fun. No, a lot of good stuff. And the one time I was worried though was after. We'll talk about the theater scene because I've got a few points on that on its own. But after the theater scene, when Kara's like, "Okay, I'll marry you," and she sort of says that to stop Mxyzptlk from killing Mon-el, and fine.
Yeah.
When he goes over to the apartment afterwards, and she's like, "Look, we're not right for each other. I'm going to marry him. It's the only way to keep everyone safe." And I was thinking, right, I'm 99% positive this is a swerve to trick Mixie. However, she's been so convincing right now. I'm a little worried that it's not, and she's just actually.
She's that naive.
Yeah, she has to go through with it to save everyone because we've not reached those stakes. It doesn't feel like he's done enough to force her into a marriage.
I agree.
So that was a little concern. Luckily, the rest of it played out exactly like I wanted it to, and that was fine. Which, by the way, something really amazing about Supergirl landing with a glass of orange juice, and then just sort of telling Mxyzptlk that, nah, it's not going to happen, as she smugly drinks the orange juice. I mean, first of all, was she carrying that while she was flying that fast? The orange juice would be all over the place. It'd be flying out. Or was it in the fortress? Did she plant it earlier? And obviously it's cold still, because it's the fortress. It's nice and chilled, I imagine. But something about her just smugly drinking the orange juice at the start of that scene was great. And obviously it plays into the fact...
Maybe she was, centripetal force, if you spin it, and it'll stay in, it'll stick to the sides. Maybe as she was flying, she was just spinning the glass in a circular motion.
So she was going like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I was going to circle there. It looks like on camera as if I'm just doing a linear motion, so I'm going to stop. But
Yeah,
I
that's
was
uncomfortable.
doing this this sort of motion, and that's a really obscure reference to the last Star Trek review we did. Go check it out if you want to know why that's funny to us. But yeah, and obviously it's a cool reference to the start of the episode because he mentions that you can't make people kill themselves, or you can't stop people from killing themselves, rather, and he can't stop people from drinking orange juice for some reason. So this was like a symbolic little thing to let her letting him know, no, I'm not. You're not forcing me to do shit. And then we got that great bit where he brings the Jor-El ice statue to life.
Which was fantastic.
It was great, and she was flying around it, and it was fighting. The whole thing was fun, and we got a really out of nowhere Batman quote, which proper cracked me up. Because she's like, "You want to get nuts?" And then it's before she even finished the quote, all I could hear in my head was Michael Keaton going, "Let's get nuts!" Like that's all I could hear in my head. And, and I'm like, "Oh man, I'm having so much fun." All the action stuff was super fun. Mxyzptlk was super fun. Good action. All the characters were all firing. The only issue I had kind of with the Mxyzptlk plot, and obviously she tricks him into typing his name backwards, and that's why he gets sent away. Good fun. But was the theatre scene, right? So mon-el steals the gem, the alien gem that will stop Mxyzptlk from using his powers, which works
he
for
assumes.
Yeah, which works for like 3 minutes until he smashes it, and then oh dear, what's your plan now, mon-el? But he just shows up in the alley behind the bar, and he's like, Mxyzptlk, I'm here to fight you, you scum. And Mxyzptlk's just there, and I'm like, why did he go here? Like, what made him go to this location? Why did he think Mxyzptlk was there? It's just like convenient TV writing. It's like, we have this location that we use, we'll go here. But there's no actual reason. Why would he go there? Like, you could stand in any location, presumably, and just shout his name, and he'd appear.
You'd think so, yeah.
It felt weird. And then what was even... But I let that go. What was even weirder? So he transports them, snaps his fingers, because he can alter reality, and they're in a giant theatre. Because he's challenged them to a duel, and Mxyzptlk takes it literally, and he gets like guns, and it has them dressed up in the old clothes and all that. And they start fighting. And Supergirl drops in. She shows up to save him. And I'm like, how did she get here?
Yeah, how do you know where they are?
How
do you know, like, what's going on?
This is essentially an imaginary place that he just conjured up. Arguably, maybe it's not. Maybe he teleported them to a theatre in the city somewhere.
That's what I assumed.
Probably. But even if that's the case, then how did...
Yeah, I assumed he'd teleport to an abandoned theatre.
Well, because it's all about... I think I jumped to illusion because he constantly just creates things and alters reality and...
Yeah, but they're still real, aren't they? They're not just illusions.
Well, were the quartet at the start that he conjures, were they real people that he teleported from somewhere? Because they weren't really freaking out or anything.
Yes, I don't know. But Parasite, I mean, it packs a punch. They're physically there.
Oh, they're physically there.
Illusions.
But they're an illusion in the sense that they're just constructs. They're just...
Sure, constructs is probably a better term.
Yeah, it's like a Green Lantern rings construct, but just in colour, not green. But yeah, so I thought that was
I just assumed teleport.
Yeah, I thought that was weird though that she knew where they were and she just drops in and they don't even explain it or mention it.
Yeah.
Although him teleporting mon-el to DEO in his underwear, pretty amusing. Well, I'll give him.
I think that's why I assumed it was teleportation because we'd seen that you can just do it to mon-el there.
That's true. They set that up. That's fair.
Yeah.
I think obviously the larger theme of the episode though is they're kind of hitting at a more serious topic where mon-el is constantly being like, "Oh, I need to protect you. I need to defend your honor. I need to do this." And Supergirl, of course, is like, "I'm Supergirl. What are you talking about?" And she's constantly, "I don't need you to fight my battles." And it's touching on that whole thing, and it's a fine thing to touch on, especially since it's with Mxyzptlk, who forces people to do what he wants, and he's trying to force everything. He's trying to force it, and she's like, "No, it's not going to work like that. You can't force it." And there's a good message in there, but the problem I think is that it makes mon-el seem like a right douchebag because he's not getting it either. He shows up and apologizes at the end, but I'm like, I feel like you're apologizing because she's mad at you, not because you actually understand what you did wrong.
Do you know what I also thought was a little bit weird? How she was just like, "Oh, I'm Supergirl, like I'm fine." Not like I don't need this anyway. Not like no, you don't need to do that unless it's asked for for anyone.
Yeah, I I didn't read too much into that. I kind of just took that as contextual because it was right after she was being punched by a giant monster. It was kind of...
Yeah. But in general, just it felt like, since that was the theme of the episode, it felt weird there for me.
I mean, it was essentially about respecting other people as human beings. That was kind of the gist of the whole episode.
Yeah.
It was Alex or Maggie respecting Alex's wishes and vice versa. It was, I guess the Wynn relationship's kind of like, kind of a weird metaphor for interracial couples because, there's a really on the nose line about the people don't believe in the aliens and humans should mix, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then you have her plot, and I liked the overall message, and I liked most of Kara's rebuttals for most of it. It just felt really weird at the end when she's like, "I know, I was lying about not being with you because he might have been listening, and I had to make you not come." And that's fine. Like, I'm glad they had the swerve. It was the right thing to do there. Which, by the way, Mon-el said to Supergirl, "You are my kryptonite."
I'm surprised she'd just pull out a block of cheese and go, "Here, have this."
I both hate that line and love it at the same time.
Mm.
Because I'm not going to lie, I'd probably use it on her. I'd probably use it on her. It's too much of a good joke to not use. But I would use it in an ironic way. He actually says it. He says it straight. He says it with a straight face when he's trying to get her forgiveness.
Yeah.
I really hope now that they've kissed that it can be a background thing now and it won't take up the time for the next couple of episodes until, the Daxonites show up. I really hope not.
Me too, but I know it's going to. So I'm just keeping my hopes low, and then I'm going to be pleasantly surprised if it is gone.
Yeah. Because the thing I thought the rest of the episode was great. I loved all the Mxyzptlk stuff.
Oh, definitely.
It was great. Every scene with him and Kara was pretty much gold. Fortress being a standout, the Parasite fight, and everything around that being also really good. Her reactions to everything was great. It's just Mon-el in that plot.
Yeah.
I like him as comic relief, but every time they've tried to... It's because they've only tried to do one thing with him, really.
It is, and it's not really that great a thing. And it's because I spend so much time on it that it doesn't end. It's so much time that it hasn't developed. That's the problem.
Yeah, it's been very repetitive. Like you say,
because this is the first time it's developed in about 5 episodes.
Yeah, it's just been constantly going. And it's weird because they introduced the whole thing with he's dating Miss Tessmacher, and I thought, alright, so they're going to have the thing where Supergirl realises she has feelings for him while he's dating someone else, but then it was like just dropped the next episode. It was really quick. It felt like it was just going in circles for a little while there. But now they've kissed, now we've finally got over that part of it, so at least going forward.
Hopefully we can move forward. And I mean, I've been saying the whole time, like, I'm not necessarily against the relationship in general. I just want to see it at this point rather than this build-up that it has been for so long.
Yeah, they've been trying to make it a bit. They're trying to make us care as if it's Jim and Pam, and it's not Jim and Pam.
It's not. It's just not.
I'm not that invested.
Exactly.
Because Supergirl's...
It's hard to get that invested.
Yeah, because Supergirl's a lot more interesting for a lot of other reasons before you even introduce a love interest. She's a lead star. She's a superhero. She's the last woman of her kind. She's all these things. There's all these things to explore, and they've done a lot of that over the show, of course. But it's boiling it down to this. Oh, this is what every TV show does with their lead, and it's not a particularly impressive version of it either. It's very, like we say, repetitive and so on. So
yeah.
But Mxyzptlk was a lot of fun. So hopefully we're back on form going forward. Like I say, I actually enjoyed this one more than the last 2 or 3. So
that's fair.
It's weird because you have this stupid scene at the end that kind of makes it feel like we've been more negative than we have been. But at the same time, it's actually I had more fun with this one than I've had in the last 2 or 3.
Yeah, it just gives you the stupid, annoying bits that you have to get annoyed about.
Yeah.
Why do they do it to us? It's always at the end.
I don't know.
It'd be far less annoying if it was in the middle. Just...
Well, it can't be though, because it's the entire plot of the episode. It has to end at the end. That would have been a fair thing the last couple of weeks, but this week it kind of had to go at the end because it was the.
All right, yeah, I suppose so.
It was the overall thing, but there we go. That's this week's Supergirl. Let us know what you thought of this one in the comments below. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. It helps us out a lot. Thank you very much for watching. We will see you next time.